Our headlines: President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. will have its visit to Vietnam and will expect to discuss West Philippine Sea issue with Vietnamese leaders, says the Department of Foreign Affairs.
3 transportation employees were arrested for allegedly stealing unregistered license plate.
Overseas Filipino workers advocate says revising legislation are not enough for the economic growth.
45% Filipinos' life stays the same, while 30% says quality of life improved, according to the survey of social weather stations.
And the Department of Tourism says or has allocated 15 million pesos as budget for the restoration of Manila Central Post Office. Good evening, bringing you the latest news for tonight. I am ALVIN, PELOBELLO.
And I am KRIZZA Lopez. This is your TV News Thread.
Before the end of this month, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. will visit Vietnam, his first trip abroad this year. Marcos is set to sign deal with Vietnamese leader for the maritime aspects, including West Philippine Sea. More details from this report. For the first time this year, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. will take its out-of-the-country trip before the end of this month. He is set to visit Vietnam on January 29 to 31, as confirmed by the Foreign Affairs spokesperson Maria Teresita Daza during the briefing of Malacanang Palace today. Daza said the Philippines and Vietnam will sign a Memorandum of Understanding for maritime aspects,
where discussions on the multifaceted relationship and ways of exploring deepening of cooperation across different fronts will be expected. The President is also expected to meet with business sectors to promote trade and investment relations between the Philippines and Vietnam.
Marcos is set to meet 3 leaders of Vietnam, namely Vietnamese President Vo Van Tu, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh, and Van de Gu, the chairman of the National Assembly of Vietnam. The president will visit the business leaders in Vietnam to strengthen the trade and investment between the Philippines and Vietnam.
Our ties have spanned across various areas of cooperation, including defense and security, maritime, agriculture, and people-to-people relations. Further to this, our 2 countries have actually set a goal of boosting our bilateral trade up to $10 billion in the coming years.
Around 7,000 overseas Filipino workers are in Vietnam, and majority of them are professionals. Among the delegations of President Marcos are First Lady Luisa Araneta Marcos and key cabinet members. ALVIN, PELOBELLO for EuroTV News.
3 employees of Land Transportation Office or LTO were arrested for allegedly stealing unregistered license plate. According to LTO, these employees were taking advantage of these plates and selling those for 10,000 pesos each. Full details on Rene Nicolas' report.
3 personnel of the Land Transportation Office or LTO were arrested and present to the media Friday morning for allegedly stealing non-registered plate number at the plate making plant in Quezon City. LTO Chief Assistant Secretary Vigor Mendoza II identified the arrested suspects as embossers Generard Arida, RJ Anasco, and warehouse staff Valeriano Nerizon, all assigned to the plate making plant at the LTO Central Office. Manhunt operation is also conducted against Alan Joker Abrigo, another LTO employee who served as the team leader and possibly the boss of the 3 arrested suspects. The joint operation is conducted by the LTO Intelligence Division and DILG Special Project Tracker Team through the help of Philippine National Police. According to LTO Intelligence Division Chief Renante Militante, the investigation on the case started when the Office of Militante received raw information last year about possible theft of license plates.
But those previous months, medyo nahihirapan po kami dahil walang nagsasurface na ebidensya at mag-pinpoint sa mga tao na to. And then later part na lang po nitong December, meron na pong nag-report sa amin na may mga suspicious activity na nangyayari po dyan sa planta. And therefore, we immediately informed the Assistant Secretary about what is happening. And then binigyan niya kami ng direktiba na paigtingin yung intelligence packet namin or intelligence case build-up.
The thorough investigation into the case led to the identification of the 3 suspects who are allegedly threatening their co-workers in the plate-making plant of harm they would spill the beans on their modus. Based on the result of the investigation, they are selling the license plate at 10,000 pesos per piece. We are now trying to determine how long and how many license plates have been stolen by these errant employees, said Asek Mendoza.
So, ang gagawin ko namin right after this, no, I'll be talking to our MID, no, para online na-check niya na yung plaka niya talaga sa kanya. Or kung yung plaka niyan ay narehistro sa ibang tao. Para kung narehistro man sa ibang tao at we have ongoing investigations na nangyayari yan. So we can correct it immediately. No? So we will put up an online system where the public can easily verify that the plate that they have is legitimate and really registered under their names.
The suspects are now detained and are facing charges of violation of Article 310 or the qualified theft and Article 294 or the robbery of the revised penal code.
Kasi ang ginagawa lang nila, hindi lang naman nakaw plaka. Ginagawa nila sila mismo yung manufacture ng plaka. Tapos ilalabas nila yun, kaya hindi siya mare-record. Yun ang nagiging problem. Problema, sa mata ng mga law enforcement sa labas, sa mata nila original yun. So it will take a while bago malaman kung tama o mali. So pwede siya magamit sa mga crimes. Especially those dun sa mga killings. Consumer sila. Nagagamit nila yan dun sa tawag yung doble plaka. Pati yung labas kasa scheme.
For his part, DILG Secretary Benher Abalos has committed support and assistance in the conduct of investigation to dig deeper in this case and make all these people involved accountable for their illegal activities.
Laban sa lahat to, laban sa cybercrime, laban kung saan pa ito, yung mga nangungutong sa kalye dyan, sabihin nyo lang, andyan po ang grupong yan. And I assure you this, makukonvict yung mga yan sa tibay na ebidensyang na-gather ng intelligence group at ginawa ng ating grupo rito, mga abogado po ito, these are very young police officers. I will assure you, makukonvict yung mga taong yan.
This is Henry Nicolas for EuroTV News.
During the visit of the United Nations Special Rapporteur Irene Khan to the Department of Foreign Affairs, the Philippines has reaffirmed its commitment to the freedom of expression and human rights. Even the creation of the Presidential Task Force on Media Security were amongst the highlight of her visit. Here's the details. United Nations Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Opinion and Expression Ms. Irene Khan have paid courtesy visit with the Department of Foreign Affairs yesterday. As part of her visit in the Philippines, Khan has been received by Undersecretary for Multilateral Affairs and International Economic Relations, Honorable Charles Jose. Among the topics that were being discussed is the commitment of the Philippines in terms of human rights, freedom of opinion, and expression. Jose have shared the Philippines' record in enabling civil society organizations and media to serve as a strong and important pillar of the country's democracy. He also emphasized the vibrancy of the Philippines as the oldest democratic republic in Asia with over 2,000 private media outlets, and Ms. Khan has conveyed that her current visit acknowledges the Philippines' mature media landscape, represented by its long history of open media, especially among Asian countries. The DFA also highlighted the creation of the Presidential Task Force on Media Security as a symbol of the support for freedom of expression and the reflection of the evaluated status of journalists in the country. The PT FOMS is one of the only institutions in the world with a dedicated mandate to protect the life, liberty, and security of media workers. The DFA officials have expressed assurance of the government support to Khan on her visit and in the consultation of her report that she will submit to the Human Rights Council. ALVIN PELOBELLO for EuroTV News.
Meanwhile, overseas Filipino workers advocate expressed their support in constitution reform as it will create more jobs in the Philippines. According to Mr. Orion Dumdum, co-founder of Correct Movement, amending economic provision will offer more opportunities inside the country. Thus, Filipinos won't have to go overseas for better job opportunities. More details on my report.
Revising na lang yung ilang mga laws natin.
Revising legislation is not enough because the Constitution is very loud in sending a signal to the international community that we don't want.
This was the statement of Correct Movement regarding the revision of some laws related to the investment of foreigners in the Philippines. Correct Movement co-founder and OFW advocate Mr. Orion Dumdum said that the existing laws are not enough to promote foreign investment in the country. It is said that the economic provision in the 1987 Constitution gives mixed signal, giving limits to businessmen who wants to invest but also outright repelling laws to those who want to invest.
So, parang nagsasabi ka, parang ano ba, mixed signals, nagsasabi ka, punta kayo dito sa amin, punta kayo dito sa restaurant namin, pero may malaking sign na nakasulat, bawal kayo pumasok. Ano sasabihin ng mga taong gustong pumasok na nakita nila, bawal ang ano, kung hindi ka pa, parang, ano pa talaga gusto mo? Gusto mo kaming pumasok o hindi? So, kinakailangan mo tanggalin yung signage na yan na nagsasabing ayaw namin sa inyo. So, ang Constitution po mas mataas kaysa sa legislation. Kahit gumawa tayo ng anong mga pasikot-sikot, kung anong mga circumvention, hindi po gagana yan. Dahil ang Constitution natin ay nagsasabi na ayaw namin sa mga foreign investor.
In recent years, several laws have been passed that open up the Philippine economy for businessmen from other countries. This includes the Public Service Act, Foreign Investment Act, Retail Trade Liberalization Act, Renewable Energy Development, and Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. But since the Constitution states that only 40% can be owned by non-Filipinos, they are limited to invest. It is said that through the amendment of the Constitution and the entry of foreign investors, the number of unemployed and underemployed Filipinos and Filipinos leaving the country will also decrease.
We are open for business. We welcome you totally. Ganun ang nangyayari. We're welcoming you. Pag dumating yung mga foreign investors na yan, magke-create sila ng mga jobs. They will set up businesses, they will set up offices, they will set up factories. And then, dun pa lang sa paggagawa ng mga pabrika, magdadami yung mga construction projects. Dun pa lang sa pagkatapos ng construction projects, mag-hire sila ng mga empleyado. So, kung maraming mga trabaho, magle-lessen yung unemployment problems natin. Eventually, ang gusto nating mangyari is dumami ang mga trabaho such that mas maraming trabaho, mas maraming job opening kaysa sa mga manggagawa at mga tao.
The Correct Movement also called on the senators and the president not to hinder the people's initiative and not to block the plan to amend the Constitution.
Let's go through with this process. This is the much needed change that we've all been wanting to have, that most people didn't know about in the 1990s and in the early 2000s. But now more people know, especially OFWs and overseas Filipinos, yung mga nag-migrate sa ibang bansa, alam na nila na kailangan baguhin ang sistema. So please, let's make it happen para makapag-uwi na rin ang maraming OFWs kapag gumanda ang mga resulta dahil sa mga reformang ito.
This is KRIZZA Lopez for EuroTV News.
Stay tuned for more stories as we will be right back right after few commercials.
Mga kasikat, e-ere na po ang EuroTV News Primetime Balita sa Pinoy Extreme Cable Channel 217. Tuloy-tuloy po ang aming paghahatid balita at impormasyon sa inyong mga tahanan. Maaari nyo rin kaming bisitahin sa aming official website, ang herotvph.com. Muli ako po si Henry V. Nicolas. Sumasaludo sa bawat Pilipino.
Mga kasikat, e-ere na po ang Your TV Primetime Balita sa Pinoy Extreme Channel 217. Tuloy-tuloy na po ang paghahatid ng mga balita at impormasyon sa inyong mga tahanan. Maaari nyo rin kaming bisitahin sa aming official website, eurotvph.com. Muli ako po si Vanessa Cleofas, sumasaludo sa bawat Pilipino.
Vice President and Education Secretary Sara Duterte leads the presidential race according to a survey. 36% of Filipinos have voted for Duterte, followed by Senator Raffy Tulfo with 23%. Vanessa Cleofas has more.
In the coming year of 2028, the presidential election will be conducted all over the country. But now, Vice President and Education Secretary Sara Duterte found the most preferred candidate among other possible individuals. In a survey conducted by the Philippine Public Opinion Monitor or WR Numero, 36% of Filipinos would vote for Duterte if she ran for president, while Senator Raffy Tulfo ranked as the second candidate for president that the Filipino chose. He got 23% in the survey, followed by former Vice President Leni Robredo at 9%. Among other candidates that Filipino thinks to run are Senator Amy Marcos, former Senator Manny Pacquiao, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez. 14% of overall votes were undecided so far. The Vice President also led the top choice of Filipinos who were first-time voters with 43%. 33% for likely voters, 38% for non-participating registered voters, and 28% for unregistered eligible voters. Duterte also got the highest percentage of Filipinos who includes administration supporters. Meanwhile, Duterte announced that she would run for the upcoming election but did not clear in which position. WRN is a public opinion research firm that measures the opinion of Filipinos when it comes to socio-political issues in the country. Vanessa Cleofas for EuroTV News.
A recent SWS survey shows nearly half of Filipinos perceive no change in their quality of life over the past year, with 25% reporting a decline and 30% noting an improvement. Metro Manila and Visayas recorded an increase compared to the survey released in September 2023. More details from this report.
On the recent survey from Social Weather Stations or SWS, almost half of Filipino population evaluates their quality of life as nothing has ever changed for the last 12 months. The study was conducted from December 8 to 11, 2023 with 1,200 adults nationwide. According to the data of SWS, 25% of the sample size says their quality of life got even worse after 12 months. On the contrary, 30% of the Filipinos claims that quality of their life is better than 12 months before. Between September 2023 and December 2023, the national net gainer score increased by 7 points, caused by the rises in Metro Manila and the Visayas, as well as a modest increase in Balanced Luzon and a constant score in Mindanao. Compared to September 2023, net gainers rose from fair to very high in Metro Manila, up by 25 points from -9 to +16. It remained high in Balanced Luzon, increasing by 3 points from +3 to +6. It increased by 11 points in the Visayas from -7 to +4. It remained fair in Mindanao, slightly changing from -4 to -3. This is KRIZZA Lopez from Euro TV News.
The Department of Tourism has allocated 15 million pesos for the reconstruction and restoration of the Manila Central Post Office, which was damaged by the fire in May last year. The funding allocation goes to the Tourism Infrastructure and Enterprise Zone Authority, which is in charge of the building's extensive architectural and engineering studies for conservation, evaluation, and pre-restoration work. Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco stated that it was imperative to promote the protection, rehabilitation, and restoration of cultural and heritage sites, which are the country's tourist assets. The neoclassical structure is an architectural masterpiece of one of the oldest sites in the Philippine capital. It is located at the banks of the Pasig River in Liwasang, Bonifacio. The first part of the project compromises the preparation of plans for the pre-restoration work, whilst the second phase includes the design of the rehabilitation and conservation plan that will be implemented.
And that's the latest news for tonight. You may visit yourtvph.com for more news and information. Once again, this is KRIZZA Lopez.
You can also catch our broadcast live in our social media accounts and via Pinoy Extreme channel. I'm ALVIN PELOBELLO. This is your TV News Trend. Stay safe and have a good night, everyone.